Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of DFV. I am Black Cinephile.
I am the AKA Brad.
That's the AKA Brad. Brad, how's it going?
It's going good.
That's it. It's
That's
going
that's
good.
it. It's going good. I'm in the middle of renovation, so I currently don't have a kitchen right now, so that's nice.
You don't have a kitchen.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I'll have to send you pictures like because it's being torn down, so new cabinets and stuff can be put up.
I thought all that stuff happens before you move in.
Typically yes.
Okay, this isn't a typical situation. I got you. All right, man. Well, we got a special one today, man. I feel like Swiss Army Man walked so this episode could run. I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
we got two maroon / lost at sea films about survival uh uh going head to head here.
Yeah, this one actually has people that are marooned and left stranded instead of people that just think they are.
Not in someone's backyard or something
Right.
like that. And not dealing with a farting corpse. One of them deals with a corpse, but it's not like, a part of the plot.
Right.
All right, man. We got two good ones here, man. One of these I've seen a long time ago, and I hadn't seen recently until now. And the other one is my first time. We got Castaway, the OG classic with Tom Hanks, and we got All Is Lost with Robert Redford.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that All Is Lost is the one that this is the first time seeing.
It is.
Okay, yeah,
What
that
about
was the
you?
same for me. Castaway years ago. I actually forgot how long Castaway is. Like when I was watching, I was like, I don't remember most of this movie. I remember all the island bits.
Same here. I didn't remember a lot of it when I started watching it. I'm like, oh man, this is a very like I won't say it's too long, but like because it's not a slow paced movie. But
Mm,
like I was like, oh man, I forgot that all of this happened. You know what I
right.
mean? Because like you look back on Castaway and you was like, hey, wasn't it just Tom Hanks talking to a soccer ball? Like,
Which it turns out that Wilson is only in the movie for like maybe 20 minutes or something, but that's how I remember the movie.
right, for sure, for sure. All right, man. So you want to just hop into it?
Yeah, let's jump into it. And when watching these movies, I was thinking it'd probably be best to do chronological on this one. I don't know if you thought the same.
I was thinking we could do All Is Lost first because Robert Redford has seniority, but I'll trust your judgment on this one. I think
Okay.
chronological might work.
Yeah, I think chronological will work.
All
So
right.
that puts us with Castaway in the lead here. Did you want to jump into this one or did you want me to take the reins?
You know what? I can do All Is Lost. You can take the reins on Castaway.
Okay. So Castaway follows the story of a FedEx employee named Chuck Noland, played by the great Tom Hanks, who is on a plane that ends up crashing after an engine explodes. He gets lost on an island and he is stuck there for several years by himself. Before he eventually manages to get off the island and rehabilitate with society. That is the cliff notes of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you talk about a quick synopsis, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Man who works for FedEx takes a plane trip, plane crashes. Man fights for survival over half a decade to get off the island.
Right. The plot is extremely simple. What makes this movie shine though is Tom Hanks's performance,
Dude,
who
it's everything.
yeah. This movie, between this and Forrest Gump, I can't decide which I think is my favorite performance by Tom Hanks.
Interesting. Man, I'd even put his performance in Elvis up there. Even though he was annoying, I think that was kind of the point.
He
I would
was
put
good in that, but when I think Tom Hanks, first it's it's these two movies are the first that pop up is Castaway and Forrest
Philadelphia,
Gump.
like Forrest Gump, Philadelphia. A few films do pop up. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. This is a pretty great one, dude. I gotta
Oh
say,
yeah.
man, everything in here just hits right. It Tom Hanks, who basically this whole film is basically leaning on him. Like you got
Hmm.
to have the right lead to sell a movie like this. Like
Oh
you got
yeah.
to have the right kind of actor to sell this. But Robert Zemeckis, man, you want to talk about an MVP? I mean, his directing of this film is just top notch. It's beautiful.
I absolutely love that this movie was filmed on three separate occurrences too,
Hmm.
because it was filmed originally with Tom Hanks for a bit for The Island. Then they waited, or no, he filmed all the scenes where he was not on the island first. Then
Hmm.
they waited, about a year to film the rest of it so he could lose like 50 pounds. So you see a difference between him at the beginning of the movie and him on the island. And then
Hmm.
they waited another, couple of months for him to be able to grow out the beard and everything for it. So this movie was basically shot over the course of, I think, like 2 years overall in order for them to get the approach that they wanted for it.
I'm glad they took their time with it because you know, I feel like that's where you create the magic where I think the film wasn't shot in chronological order, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They filmed
Right,
like
yeah.
basically all the scenes with him off the island first. Then they filmed the scenes with him after he lost weight, and then the future scenes.
Okay, yeah. Dude, the script for such a simple plot, man, the script is so beautifully written when you think of the character work of Tom Hanks' character. What's his character here? Chuck. When you
Mhm.
think of Chuck and where he begins and where he ends, he begins giving that speech to the employees in Russia about FedEx and their mission and everything. He says, we can't commit the cardinal sin of turning our back on time. And
Mhm.
all this film really is about is time. You
Right.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, especially when he has the clock, or what was it? The watch that was given to him by his fiance.
Hmm.
And he carries that with him throughout the entire movie and everything. As everything's happening to him on the island, he always has that with him. And even though it doesn't work anymore, because it was set to her time, no matter where he was on his travels and everything, he would always have her time in mind because of that watch. And basically when you know everything happened with the plane crash and everything, her time stopped. you know Everything in her life stopped in when it came to him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, man, everything for a film made in the 2000s, some films are just kind of timeless, dude.
Mhm.
Like the plane crash sequence, that was intense for a
Oh yeah.
2000 film. That was shot very intense, and it made you feel like you were actually a part of a plane crash.
Yeah, watching as he's like trying to go across the plane to get the watch, and then he's trying to get everything together to get the life vest back on and everything, and he
Hmm.
can't reach it in time. When the plane crashes, you have that like front view through the cockpit to see just the water right up ahead that they're heading straight towards, and then the rushing water everywhere around the plane. It's a very intense scene.
It is, it is. And I like the whole sequence of him getting out and uh, being carried all the way to the top, of the ocean when he has that lifeboat, and then him
Mhm.
just holding on as like he's lost in this whole sea of storm and waves. And I'm like, dude, that's got to be scary as hell
Oh yeah.
to be caught in
This is
something like that.
literally the nightmare for many people. This movie literally was like, hey, what can we do to bring everybody's nightmare onto the big screen, but put the most lovable main character on there to make it like a very entertaining family movie with the most horrifying scenario possible.
And I wouldn't even call this a family movie to be honest, but I hear what you're saying. Like, I think Tom Hanks had like a little gestation of the idea where he was like, dude, there's like a ton of FedEx planes that go over islands. Like what if one of those just went down?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was like the original gestation of the idea of Castaway. And yeah, it sells it, man. Because like watching this film, there are some, it's not a lot, but there are some dull moments because you got to remember there's one actor basically like carrying this whole film on his back for about 3/4 of the movie, you know.
Pretty much, yeah. This is a Tom Hanks movie. There are other people in it toward the beginning and the end of the movie, but beyond that, this is Tom Hanks. And I love how they brought in the character of Wilson specifically because they had literally somebody on a deserted island that they needed to have talking happen.
Right.
So they were like, okay, well, how can we have him talk without it seeming out of place?
It was genius because you don't want to lean on narration.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be narrated to for about 2 hours and 20 minutes, you know. And I think it's genius how we transition over to Wilson. This one scene, you know, the scene when he first creates the fire, you know, he starts saying multiple things like fire.
Oh yeah,
I got fire. I just imagine Robert Zemeckis saying offset, all right, Tom, cut. Fire. I made fire. All right,
oh,
Tom,
yeah.
Tom, cut. Baby, won't you light my fire? And I can just picture him just going over and over and making multiple takes of one.
Basically just having a full-on Robin Williams moment where it's just constantly going where they're like, we're gonna run out of film before he stops talking, aren't we?
Or you know, the fire's gonna get close to the film stock and we gotta get him to stop.
Right, yeah.
He's just throwing more and more stuff in there. He's getting lost in the role.
Yeah, I absolutely love how, you know, you get to see him break open the packages, but the one that has the angel wings on it, he refuses to open because it seems like a special package because it has the drawing on it.
I noticed that, yeah. And I remember, you know, when we get to the end, he was talking about how that package saved his life. It took me until that moment to realize that's the one thing he never opened. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a plot point that I completely forgot about in this movie until I was rewatching it again. Because I remember seeing like the angel wings during the beginning of it. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, that's the lady for the end of the movie. I remember that. But it never clicked with me before. Oh, yeah, there was an actual like timeline. It wasn't just him showing up at her house at the end of the movie. We actually did see her previous to it.
Yeah, the movie ends where it begins.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Man, the cinematography in this is gorgeous, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There'll be multiple moments where you see Tom Hanks just, you know, walking about and you'll see like the sunset on the ocean, or like when he's at the top of the cliff and you just see it off the cliff. I'm like, dude, this has some great moments of like, I want to hope that's natural light, but whatever it is, it's just straight up movie magic of beauty.
I gotta believe that it was because they did film this one on an actual island. This wasn't like they built a set or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the one shot that I absolutely love is when he was at the very top of the mountain and you just had rope. That no, not that scene. It was like the first time he climbed the mountain.
Oh, okay.
And he's just looking around and everything, and it has that like fish eye kind of view, like the wide lens of you can just see like it's literally just water everywhere. You know, he's literally trapped on this island. It's the first time that he like sees.
Oh yeah, when he's I got you. Yeah, that was a great shot.
Oh, I absolutely love that scene. Like that one, it really captures it because you have the back of his head as he's like turning and seeing, you know, that he really is stranded here. There's no land anywhere else. There's nowhere else for him to go. This is it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, man. What I wanted to say was, dude, I love the scene of him. Now, yeah, here's a scene that made me really feel his pain. Like this is like a great visceral performance, dude. Like the scene where he like knocks out his tooth.
With the ice skate.
Yes, I was looking at that scene. I was like, oh man, that's gonna hurt. And then you hear the crunch, you hear the click, and he goes, oh. And then he just passes out. And then all of a sudden you go 4 years later, and I was like, wow. That was a great transition.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but I love how when we transition those 4 years, we see him like with the beard, like he's really been there a long time. Wilson now has hair from all the grass and everything.
Right, right. I thought
Uh,
that was just the soccer ball as it dies out, it just kind of parts of its innards kind of grow out. But I guess that was grass.
yeah, that was just like leaves and grass and stuff that he like put in there for hair for Wilson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Like only an actor like Tom Hanks could make you feel emotion of a man crying after a
A
soccer ball.
volleyball.
Wilson,
Yeah,
Wilson.
it turns out you can still buy a Wilson volleyball with the handprint and everything on it. They still sell them.
Oh wow, where do they sell them online?
Yeah, the company that makes the volleyballs, they still sell the Wilson Castaway volleyball.
Yeah, man, that whole thing. Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson. If you just hop into this movie out of nowhere, you'll probably think this is a comedy. But like, as you see the trajectory of this man being marooned for so long and having nothing but a soccer ball to talk to, that's a very emotional scene.
Oh yeah. Oh, especially because he's literally trying to get there and he doesn't want to leave the boat behind because that's his only, life support at that point. And so he has the rope and he's trying to pull it and everything. And it's just he can't swim fast enough to get back to the current and everything that's taking away Wilson. And it's like, oh, and he's like apologizing to it, and then he goes back to the raft, and that one whale was just following him the entire time, though.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful scene too with the whale.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man, that's one of the few things I remember about this movie. Him getting him going back to reality, him going back to civilization in the end, and the Wilson scene. Like it got so bad. My dad and I around the house used to yell just with no nonsensical reason at all. Wilson,
Wilson. Yeah.
To the point where my mom was like, "Shut up!" like we took that movie back to Blockbuster. Shut up.
Yeah. It's not here anymore. It can't do anything. Just stop it.
Right. What was I about to say, dude? I love the beautiful scene of him, and I mentioned this before, him going up to the cliff to find more rope to make the boat for him to go out there. Because I like how that connects in the end, because he tells Wilson, like, no, there's one place to go, but I don't want to go back up there again after what happened.
Yeah, I know it's 30 feet of rope, but I'm not going back there.
Right. And I love how in the end, when he's talking to his buddy, he's like, man, like it got so bad, man. I almost tried to hang myself. And then that's where you remember, like, oh, that's why he didn't want to go back up there, because that's where he tried to hang himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love how everything ties together in this film, from the angel wings to certain little bits of moments that we lost within that 4 years that get clarified. Like, everything comes full circle throughout this movie.
Well, it's not only that. When he's talking to his friend, he's also talking about that moment where he tested it, and you saw the tree stump that he was using like as a body double attached to the rope and everything. And he goes, yeah, and when I tested it, it went down, it broke the tree branch, and at that moment I knew I had lost all control. I couldn't even kill myself, in my own way.
Yeah. And then he talks about, I realized at that moment, like, the best thing you can do is just keep on living.
Right.
Dude, I love like when he gets after he gets rescued and everything, I love how they got him in his hotel room. And this is like right after the heartbreaking scene where he meets he finds out his girlfriend, who he was actually about to propose to before he got, marooned, married and has kids. That scene with the husband, dog, that almost threw me, man. Where he's like, he shows up like, hey man, I'm her husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, she couldn't make it. She's been through a lot. Because he doesn't really know what to say. But then you kind of look outside and you realize, oh wait, she is there. He's trying to stop her from seeing him because he knows how much she's been through with the whole thing. And it's kind of douchey, but you kind of
He's like
understand.
trying to protect her,
Right.
because he knows that it's going to hurt her even more with him being back around.
Right. Right. And it's you understand from his standpoint, but from Tom Hanks' standpoint, you're just devastated. Like, man, he didn't even get to say hi to his woman.
I think he understood it as well, but at the same time, he needed that closure, and that's why he goes to her house to actually see her.
Right. But before we get there, I love how in the hotel room, this is just great set design. I like how when everybody leaves the hotel room, they give him a hug and say, "Man, we're so glad you made it." Um, Everything that he went through on the island is kind of spread out on the table. You see a crab, you know what I'm saying? You see some fire, you see a locket, like everything he kind of pulls up are like I don't say
victories that he had while on the island. They're just all here as nothing, more or less.
victories, memoriams, like I don't think that's the right word, but things that remind him of his time on the island.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I like how in the end, when him and his boy are talking about him and his friend are talking. These are both guys that in a way have lost their women. One guy has lost his woman to another man. One guy has lost his woman to cancer. But they both have lost their rock in a way.
Right.
And they're having a man-to-man, friend-to-friend moment. But dude, I love the reunion with him and Helen Hunt, man. Like, and I even liked how they had a moment where they injected some humor where he was like, so let me get this straight. You telling me our city has a baseball team now?
We have a national team. They're not even in the pros yet.
Right. Like after all the conflicting emotions, he just like goes right to that, like, oh, we got a team now.
Yeah.
But I love that scene though. I like the scene where he's about to drive away and he's like, she was like, you said you were coming back. He says, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. And she runs out to the car. But I like how he because this is the way it kind of has to end. Like I like how he says, like, I can't take you away from your family. Like you got a family.
Right. It's been 4 years. You moved on. I came back as a ghost. I can't just expect you to drop everything that you've rebuilt.
Yeah, and yeah, man, that's a powerful scene, dude. I don't know if I'd be able to do that, man. Would you be able to just say goodbye?
It'd be rough, but at the same time, yeah, that's an iffy
hard.
one.
Because that she kind of kept him alive, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, like she, like the memory of her kept him alive on that island, man.
Like getting back to her and finally fulfilling that promise is what made him drive to finally get back.
Fair enough. That's fair enough too. And I just love where it ends, dog. I love how my man is like literally at a crossroads at the end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He just has to find a road to go down. My wife had thought that maybe he went down the road with the woman with the angel wings and that became his new girl. But I'm like, I think it's a bit more optimistic than that. Like, yeah, that probably happened, but the fact is he gets to choose a new direction now. You know what I'm saying?
He has control over where he goes. That's where the optimism in that scene comes from. It's not, oh, he went and got a new girlfriend. No, the optimism is for the first time in 4 years, he can make the choice of what happens next. He has the opportunity to go wherever he wants and nothing can stop him.
Yeah, because I hope he doesn't go back to that job. The job literally did leave him stranded. But I think because that job, it was pulling him from either which way. He was going overseas, back and two, could barely spend time with his woman. His pager always went off. Like, I hope he does get a new career.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, he's also set for life when it comes to the story rights and everything. Because that one lawyer was talking with him about, having the story rights or the rights to his story and stuff. Yeah, at the party.
Oh yeah,
the one that his buddy like takes him away from is like, yeah, I think Chuck needs to rest now, guys. I think it's time to kind of leave him alone. Let him have some peace and quiet. That's who he's talking to. It's one lawyer going, yeah, I'll call you. We'll get this sorted out.
He could be set for life though. It's an amazing story.
Oh yeah,
he could be set for life, man. I pretty much went through all my notes. You got anything else to add about this?
Nothing else really. I do like how it does end on that ambiguous note of, we don't get to see where he decided to go next. We have that inkling he decided to go back to actually talk with the one girl with the angel wings and everything like that. I do like that at the beginning of the movie, we do see that she has a husband that is cheating on her in Russia with that one package, the first package that we like see travel through FedEx.
Oh, the cowboy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was her husband?
Yeah, the first package that was being delivered and stuff like that, because when he opens the door and he has the one girl on basically wrapped around him, and he just goes, "Oh, it's a package from my wife back home."
Yeah, you are right about that. I forgot. I missed that, man.
Yeah, so we know that basically FedEx, was a big part of her life. It's a big part of his life. So they have that connection there. And assuming that she didn't find somebody in the last 4 years, she is also probably single at this point too.
Right. Hey, it could work out. She was a good looking woman, so
Oh yeah.
It could work out. Yeah, man. Great movie, man. Great movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you something. Do you think, before we rate this, do you think Russell Crowe deserved to win over Tom with Gladiator? Because Gladiator was a great role for him.
It was.
But he didn't carry Gladiator like Tom carried this.
No, this one was definitely, because this movie would have flopped with most other actors. Like Tom Hanks, you might have a handful of actors that could carry this movie the way that he did, but overall I couldn't imagine anybody else in the role for it, because he's the only person that can create that character that you care about so much, that's literally the only character on screen. And when he loses a volleyball, he is perfect at making you realize that was his only friend that's now drifting away. The only person he had in his life for 4 years is gone now. You can see that pain and everything. And Tom Hanks is great at that. He is great at emotional drama pieces when it comes to showing that kind of emotion. So do I think that, Tom Hanks should have won? Yeah. Am I upset that Russell Crowe won? No,
I'm not upset, because Gladiator is a great movie.
Right. So Russell Crowe winning didn't upset me. Did I still think that Tom Hanks should have won? Yes, I do.
I got you. Hey man, I get us a 4.5. I think
this is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Really? I think the only thing that's holding me back is like there was a little bit of lull throughout the movie. But like again, I kind of get it because he's marooned and you're depending on one actor. But yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think there was really a lull. Personally, I didn't get that vibe at all in this movie. Mostly because it basically showed him trying to survive. It showed him, learning how to do everything he needs to survive on the island, creating the spear, creating the rope, getting fire for the first time, finding the cave and everything. He finally has a friend. It gives him somebody to bounce off of a little bit with the volleyball. You get attached to it, because honestly, that's one of the things I remembered most about this movie was Wilson the volleyball, which he's only in about 20 minutes of the 2.5-hour runtime of this movie.
Yeah, he is. Like, Wilson in this movie is like Hannibal Lecter, the Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins isn't in that movie long, but he left such an impression that when you think of Silence of the Lambs, you think of Hannibal.
Right, yeah.
There's Clarice in Buffalo Bill, but you think of Hannibal. You know what I'm saying?
Hannibal Lecter is the name that you think of, except for it puts the lotion in the basket. I think that's the most famous scene from that movie. Right. But beyond that, it's Hannibal Lecter, who was a side character in that movie.
Yeah, he really was. Okay. Yeah, it's a great movie, man. I mean, it holds up 22 years later. Like I said, Robert Zemeckis rarely fails. This is the same guy that gave us Back to the Future 1 through 3, Polar Express, Flight. The man rarely fails at making emotional spectacle.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. All right, ready to head into the next one?
I am ready to head into the next one.
I don't know how we're gonna talk about this. I mean, I got things to say, good things to say, but this one is clear cut, man. So we got All Is Lost, written and directed by J.C. Chandor, and we got this with Robert Redford in the lead. And yeah, this isn't really hard to summarize at all. This is basically about main character who was pretty much unnamed, played by Robert Redford. He's out in the Indian Ocean. You know, we thought we this movie starts off with a shipping container that pokes a hole into in his boat. You know, and from then on, it becomes like I want to say like a balls to the wall 8-day survival mode of him going from boat to lifeboat to life jacket. Well, there's different things that happen, but it's basically him trying to survive out on the ocean. Dude, I like how I feel like this movie is like the independent answer to Castaway.
Yeah, this is basically it's the other side of the fear of being stranded in the middle of the ocean. Because with
Right.
Castaway, you're stranded on an island. You have some resources, you have food and everything like that. There's ways to, get by. It sucks, but there's ways to get by. Being on a boat, he does have resources on the boat and everything like that, but he's still stranded in the middle of the ocean. He has no way to retrieve new resources that he needs.
Yeah, this can only last so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, on a boat. Let me break down to you folks what kind of movie this is. Like, this film in total has only like 51 spoken English words in general out of a 108-minute movie, a 105-minute movie. And there really
about
is
50 of those words are in the beginning monologue.
Exactly. You know, the beginning monologue where he kind of like, you feel like you're reading a note, a farewell note where he says like, hey man, I tried to fight the good fight. At this point, all is lost. I'm sorry. And I'm like, well, that's a heck of a downer way to start this film. Telling me he dies, but I love the lingering shot on the shipping container that kind of causes everything in the beginning as the note is being like narrated by Robert Redford.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the dialogue here is help, hey, over here. Damn it. Like Robert Redford tries to do something that doesn't work and he goes, shit. That's pretty much most of the dialogue being spoken here. But what I love about this movie and how he carries it is dude, his facial expressions are like can say like 1,000 words in each moment.
Oh yeah. Which most of this movie, he just looks like an annoyed old man. Like, right. You got to be kidding me. This is really,
Right. Like his face is Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this shit.
But I do love how literally he has to repair his ship and everything. And they put a lot of detail into how he was going about, repairing the ship, handling the ship and the problems that he was occurring. Because at first you have the hull gets breached. So his first goal is to get the ship off of the shipping container that it has run into because he's stuck on it. So he uses one of the sea anchors to, dislodge it and everything. He goes back and then he uses the same anchor to kind of tilt the ship in the opposite direction of the hull breach so he can like paint over it with, I can't tell what that was. It was kind of just like a quick dry.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was either, but it was very inventive.
Right. So it's a very slow thing. You see him make the mixture and then he, mixes it. And then you see him like start painting it over the ship. And then you see like, I guess a couple hours later where he's still doing it. And you can see that it's now like a full thing. And he goes on the inside, he like taps on it. You see him actually like taking the bucket and like draining the water from the boat. It's a very slow movie that it takes its time showing you exactly what he's going through.
Yeah, I mean, this film really is bare bones survival. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
There is an art to this, and it's an art that I respect, and that it's like I said, it's the independent answer to Castaway. You know, we don't have a Wilson on this ship. This is really an old man just trying to get out of this tough situation he's in.
Hmm. Yeah, and we don't find out what his name is. We don't know what he was doing on the boat in the first place, other than it just seems to be his boat that he was kind of there on. He has a bunch of equipment and stuff to survive, but obviously when things go bad, you know, he loses the computer, he loses his navigation, everything. He loses all forms of communication because that gets destroyed. The batteries for the motor on the boat are gone.
Mhm.
So he has no way of doing anything except for using the wind to his advantage. Eventually, a storm comes and basically capsizes his boat, which forces him on the life raft where he has even less stuff
Yeah,
to basically survive. And when he finds out that, like, even that little bit doesn't really help him, like, he has a sextant, but he has to learn how to use it. So you actually have this long part of the movie where he's, you know, learning how to use it. He's going through the manuals, he's trying it, he's making marks on a map to track where he is and where he's going to follow the flow.
the coldest thing for me was like the solar still he created, like to make
Yes.
fresh water, and I was like, man, that is smart. That is
Yeah.
smart. Because
Yeah, I
now,
actually had to look up how that worked because I didn't understand it when he was doing it. Because I was like, okay, so he's putting the salt water that's undrinkable. Because this happens after, like, he had pumped drinkable water into this jug in
right,
case something happens, and he had that as a reserve. But it got contaminated with salt water because one of the plugs got or one of the caps came off
hmm,
during one of the storms. So it got salt water and it became undrinkable. So he cut it out, filled it like the bottom with salt water, put a can inside of it, and then covered it with like a plastic wrap. And then all of a sudden he had like clean drinking water. I did not understand that at all. I actually had to look it up to see what he did to make
right,
that happen.
right. Like to understand, like how you can do that.
Yeah.
This film teaches you a lot of lessons. Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I mean, God forbid we ever catch ourselves in something like this, but like this film is like, for something that has no dialogue, it really says a lot with the things that happen.
Hmm.
Because I really like how the title rings true, is that like as the film goes on, it really starts to feel like all is lost. Like you go from the boat to the life raft, and then things get a little bit dicey from there. Uh yeah, and I like how dude, I kept feeling like my heart was dropping, dude. Like when the shipping container came by
Oh yeah.
and he was signaling the flares, I'm like, who? Nobody sees this?
Well, the first one, it was just the one flare that he was like flailing around. It was like, okay, you know what? They didn't see it, but he's still on the course. The next one will get him. And then that's when he had like the flare gun that like shot up into the air and stuff. And it was like, okay, they got to see that. It's a giant red ball of light that
Right,
is in this ever looming darkness of ocean. It's somebody on the crew has to be awake and just going, hold on, that's not normal.
right. But then nothing happens, and you go, wow, I guess all really is lost at this point.
Mhm.
Um, dude, that shark scene had me worried.
Oh, where like he caught the fish and then it got like taken by the shark, and you see that he's literally surrounded by sharks underneath.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know they ain't gonna do Robert Redford dirty like that. I
Right.
know they ain't gonna do him like that. Because I was like, it's like as this film goes on, you become more and more worried for this guy. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how he's gonna get out of this. And I was about to say something else. The underwater cinematography was pretty beautiful in this movie.
Oh yeah. Like when the boat's going underwater, when like the raft that he's on is basically sinking and flipping around and everything too.
Yeah, then you see the little fishes like swarming around.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was some beautiful camera work. But dude, it's really the ending that had me like, man, I don't know. Cause he creates a signal fire because he sees a faraway light on the ocean. We don't know what the light is. So
Yeah.
he creates like a little signal fire. He starts throwing more and more stuff in it. In my mind, I'm going, all right, that's enough. You got to
Yeah.
remember, you're on a little life raft.
You're on a 1-person life raft here, and you're starting a fire now. You know, you can only go so far, and yeah, it ends up engulfing the entire thing. And this movie, I was pretty sure was going to end on that note with him just falling into the ocean. I was like, that is a downer way to end this movie, but man, is that balls to do that.
Yeah, and it would have been it would have been a downer, but it would have been earned. Like
right.
he fought the good fight, he tried.
He did everything in his power. Yeah.
But lo and behold, somebody swims up. And I love this. I love the cinematography of this shot, how you see somebody up above shining a light. And then, Robert Redford starts to go, wait a minute. And then he starts to swim up.
That is something.
Right. And just before he grabs the hand to pull him out the water, it ends. And I'm like, that was a perfect ending.
Yeah. It ends right as he grips the other person's arm. Like you don't see him get pulled up or anything. It's literally, they took Robert Redford as the only character in this movie to the extreme, to the point that the guy, that saves him isn't even shown on camera.
Right. We don't even know who he is, what he looks like.
Right.
Whether he's a mirage, a water mirage.
Right. That was another thing that I was even thinking is maybe that was it for him. Like as he was sinking, that was just a mirage to him to like sully his mind a bit as he did actually continue to sink.
I guess that depends on whether you're an optimist or a realist. I gotta be optimistic. I think he did get saved.
Right.
But that is a possibility.
But yeah, this is this movie. So I was reading up a little bit on it. Apparently the script was only like 31 pages for the final draft of this movie because there is no dialogue. There's nothing to fill the script with. It's all just stage notes.
Yeah, pretty much. I wonder, Robert Redford has always been a great actor, but I wonder what caused him to say yes to this movie. Like, him and JC met at the Sundance Film Festival, which he founded. And I wonder what like he made him do it, like, because it is an interesting role to take. And like I said, not many actors like this in Castaway can kind of like carry a whole movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I really the connecting link between these two movies are being like lost at sea, lost on an island. But it's really about actors carrying like 95 to 100% of a movie on their own.
Yeah, when you don't have anybody to bounce off of, this really shows like where your acting prowess is. And Robert Redford is, for somebody that didn't have any lines of dialogue, you were able to tell how he was feeling and what he was thinking throughout this entire thing. With all the situations that he was put in, you could tell, the times he was distressed, the times that he was just kind of annoyed with something, the times where, he literally was just losing it. Like he thought that all hope was gone, like when he starts drinking the water and he realizes it's contaminated, you feel for him, you know?
I didn't even catch that at first. I just thought the water tasted bad, but then I remembered, oh wait, he's been flashing and splashing around this whole time. Like that has to have some salt in it.
Yeah. But go ahead. There's not too much to say about this movie because that's literally all it is. It's him just surviving, in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, and the film stays true to what it is, and it nails it, man. I would give this a straight 4.
Yeah, I agree on that. This is a 4 out of 5. It's got a lot of greatness going for it, but it is pretty slow at times.
You got to be locked in.
Yeah, like the scene where he's like climbing up the pole to reattach, one of the motors for the sail so he can turn in and everything like that. And then you see him climb all the way down again, and it's just like, okay, I get it. It's a lot of work for him to do this and everything, but I get that there's a great attention to detail, but then there's an over attention to detail.
I mean, I look at it this way, man. I feel like a movie like this, if you give it your attention, you get rewarded in spades. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? It's one of those things you got to be patient with to get rewarded in spades. That's how I look at it.
right.
Yeah, man. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. So well, I guess when it comes down to it, it's simple. Castaway wins, huh?
Yeah, I think Castaway definitely wins.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, it's the classic.
It
It's
is.
gonna take a whole lot for like a stranded by yourself movie to beat Castaway. Even Swiss Army Man couldn't do it.
Swiss Army Man had a dead friend. So
That's
I
true.
mean,
He wasn't really stranded
you know,
alone.
that Wilson could actually talk.
Right.
Uh
Whether it was actually alive or not is different, but that Wilson could talk.
right, absolutely. All right, man. What you been watching lately?
So I guess we got to give our weekly update on Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah, BB. We watched the episode Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Loved it, man.
Oh, absolutely. That cameo was the perfect way to do the cameo. And I love how people online were like arguing. So, spoiler warning for anybody that hasn't seen.
Oh yeah, you know what time it is.
Yeah,
If you're not caught up to Better Call Saul, get out of here for a while.
But yeah, I love how people were like fighting over like, is Bryan Cranston going to shave his head? Is he going to do a bald cap again like El Camino? And all of a sudden he shows up with a hat on, and it's like nobody even thought of it. He just wears a hat. It's so simple.
Oh, I didn't know that was going to be a big deal. I mean, I wasn't really worried about that. I was
Oh, it
just
wasn't a
worried.
big deal. It's just one of those
Oh,
things people joked about because he wore like a very obvious bald cap for the El
mm,
Camino cameo he did. So everybody was
okay.
going, is he going to have a bald cap again, or are they actually going to make him shave his head for the Better Call Saul cameo?
I'll say this: Aaron did look noticeably older.
He
It was
did.
it wasn't a big deal, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of hard to like knock that illusion. But
Yeah, for being like the younger Jesse Pinkman,
right.
yeah, I don't want to say he was bad, but it felt off for him trying to be the younger version.
I'll say this: who's my man? Jesse Plemons gave a great performance at El Camino, but you saw the weight, like
Right. You
you
saw
saw
that
the
he was
extra,
different. Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't disturb the illusion too much of a flashback sequence, but you noticed it.
Yeah.
That's like that's like if Brandon Fraser tries to do the Mummy now, and you're like, Brandon Fraser looks a little different.
Right. No, it's a prequel to The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser. That would be
Right,
where it goes. Hold on a minute. This timeline's not adding up. But a
right.
lot of that is the same for Better Call Saul. They decided not to de-age any of the actors for it,
Mm.
which
See,
they said they did because it would have just cost too much and it would have really thrown the show in jeopardy when it comes to like the cost of the show.
hey, have you seen the movie The Irishman?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you start to do something like that, you run into a situation like that scene where Robert De Niro, he kind of tries to stomp on a guy's hand outside
Oh,
the
yeah.
barber shop. I'm like, isn't this guy supposed to be in his 30s? Like,
Right.
like y'all got him looking like a whole his age. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Why does this 30-year-old act like he's 75?
I'm saying you don't want to do something like that. Like that, you're gonna fry yourself in the end. So that's why he didn't do that. But
Right.
I loved it, man. From beginning to end, I feel like this is the best one so far to me.
Yeah, when it comes to like I said before, we're in the epilogue of Better Call Saul now. We're literally just seeing what happens after Breaking Bad at this point, and I'm absolutely loving it. We had, a confirmation of what happened with Kim a little bit. We got a little bit more information about the heist where the one girl gives Saul like the update, or Gene gives Gene the update of what's been going on, where he's like, we find out he'll actually manage to leave the one
he's not
safe
stuck
house.
there forever.
Yeah,
He's
he
not
wasn't
still
stuck there forever.
I like how they play into that joke. Like, no, he left. He finally left.
Yeah, they found out that the police were holding him, without any cause, so he was released.
Oh man, that's funny. Man, that chick is so. I know why she's so cold to him, because she probably saw a lot of disturbing things in that welcome room from the Better Call Saul office.
Mhm.
But it's like, I was like, dude, this man just dropped you off a lot of money just to give him an update. Like when he's on the
Well,
phone. Go ahead.
keep in mind, he also she mentions this on the phone call, that there were private bank accounts in her name, all over the place. Like
All
he was
right.
hiding money using her and stuff like that.
Still, he's giving you a lot of bands just to give him an update.
Right.
Like,
But she's
show.
under constant surveillance now too. Like,
Look, man, all I'm saying is if some man hid some money in the desert for me to give him an update on his life, I'll narrate his whole autobiography. You know what I'm saying?
I'll
I
keep
will
that
have.
in mind. I'm going to send you 200 miles into the desert so you can collect $10,000 and tell me everything that happened in the last 2 years.
Well, I mean, after being a tenant for weird college age students, I'm sure that's probably a savant for her. But yeah, man. Yeah, dude, I loved it the whole way through, and I love how. Here's the perfect thing about the Breaking Bad verse. I like how there's always that moral question of should you or should you not. Like
Mhm.
it was when Walter let Jane die. You know what I'm saying? When Creepy Todd shot the kid after the train robbery. And it was like my man, one of the people that works for Gene, says, listen, man, I'm not gonna rip off some dude that has cancer. Like, there's a limit to this. And Saul, I mean, Gene basically says, well, everybody has some problems we don't know about. It's a job. And he's
Mhm.
like, man, I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
And
this is the line.
right. And as the audience, we're on his side. But Gene, goes back into his slipping Jimmy ways. It's like, no, I gotta finish the job. I got
Mhm.
nothing left. I can't just go back to Cinnabon and just deal with that. Like this whole episode, I was just screaming, you idiot. You got away scot-free.
Yeah.
Like, and you're still caught up because he don't need the money.
No, you see him literally just putting the stacks away behind a cabinet. Like he doesn't use the money at all. He's literally
Right.
just falling into his ways. Like I think talking with Kim just pushed him over the edge of realizing he has nothing left to live for anyway. After the last episode where he mentions that his family's dead, he has no wife, he has no one to go home to. He's going to an empty house. What is the point of him living? And he's like, you know what? I can still have fun. And this is how he has his fun, is by running these scams. So he goes right back into that lifestyle again in that snap.
But he's not even having fun. Like he's at the club. He's waking up in the morning next to hookers and stuff, and there's no smile on his face. Like he's not even
Right.
having fun.
It's another distraction. He's falling back into the distracted life of Saul Goodman.
Yeah, yeah. It's a character flaw, man, and it's great writing, it's great character work. But this whole episode, I was like, man, you got away scot free, dude. Right?
I'm so excited to see where it goes because we have 2 episodes left, and man, they're really crunching this because this is a direction I didn't expect to see in these
It's
last couple episodes.
it's definitely a surprise. It's definitely a surprise at how they've been taking this last half of the. See, if you watch this last season as a whole, it would make sense that the second half deals with the present timeline. Like it
Right.
would make sense as a whole. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes too. Though I think Carol Burnett gonna snitch him out, man.
Oh yeah, her noticing something's up and everything. But I do love how the episode ended with the flashback to Breaking Bad with him going to the high school, and then it cuts to him breaking into the house. Like
That was nice
literally,
editing.
right. It's showing that he literally is causing his own demise. He's the one that decided to start, picking up Walt to do some more work. Because originally Mike says no. He's nothing. He's more of a liability than an asset.
He's
Don't
in
do it.
over it. You're right. He's in over his head and stuff like that. And I like how that I like that tie in. Like, he began his demise and now he's he's at the point where he's
repeating it again.
He's repeating it again.
Yeah.
But I love. I kind of caught something. I know why they didn't. I know why it wasn't said for story purposes. But in that whole moment, I'm like, why didn't Mike bring up the fact that he has a DA agent for a brother-in-law? Like, wouldn't that be the first red flag? Because I think even Saul would go, DA. Oh, okay. All right. This guy's too crazy for me.
Yeah, I'm out for that.
But I think like, okay, story-wise, I guess we'll just have that as that one minor detail he just didn't pick up.
Right. Well, he also kind of just went, his name's Walter White. He works at the high school. He's a chemist. His partner is an old student of his, a flunked out junkie. Next. It wasn't a concern. It wasn't somebody that he was deep diving into. He just basically went, yeah, this isn't somebody to, take any kind of credit on. Move along.
Yeah, but he's Mike, though. He does his research.
He does. He probably did know it, but it wasn't something that he needed to tell Saul because he was literally giving Saul the cliff notes on him.
Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that for sake of story. Because I'm not trying to be like the real diehard fans. Like, well, wait a minute, that didn't make sense from episode 6B2 where he said. I was like, come on, man, just have fun, like So I'll leave that alone. But yeah, man, that was some great editing right there. I like how they kind of flipped that as to how Saul is basically responsible for the creation of Well, Walter's responsible for the creation of Heisenberg, but Saul got him to where he needed to be.
Yeah, Saul is the reason that he got as big as he was.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty good editing choice.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. I'm along for the ride at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's only 2 episodes left. It'd be weird to get off the ride at this point. It's like you're getting to the, top of the hill for the roller coaster and just going, you know what? Just stop it here. I'll walk down. It's fine. I don't want to.
For something that's so focused on character, it's been getting really tense, man.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't know.
Well, it's a character-driven drama. It's you
don't know where this is going. And with the sneak peek of next episode, I don't know if you watched those, but they showed a police car showing up somewhere.
Yeah, it was just literally 2 cops getting out of a police car and them shutting the doors. That was it.
Yeah. Dude, I love the minimalist on the next episode of such and such that they've been doing for this. More shows need to be like this.
Personally, I think Barry does it best, where it's always just like a scene where there's no dialogue, but it's just like a close-up of somebody's face just sitting like going, and then that's it. That's like 2 seconds of that on the next episode of Barry.
Is this just the last season that went off, or it was like that the whole show?
I want to say they've been doing that the whole show, but I know for a fact they were doing it the last season at least.
All right, that's it. Well, that's intriguing. That leads your audience in to see what's coming up.
Right.
You been getting into anything else?
Well, I know that you started watching The Boys finally.
Yeah, man. I started watching The Boys. I finished season 1. I'm just starting season 2. Dude, well written, well made show, man.
Mm-hmm.
Written almost too good, and Anthony Starr's performance is a little too good. Because
I know, because I literally got a text from Anthony at like 11 o'clock one night. I saw it the next morning. He was like, "Hey, man, I got a question for you." And I responded like, "Okay, what's going on?" He was like, "So for The Boys, does
Homelander ever get his like,
right.
Or does this guy just keep winning? And then you go, well, you want the good news or the bad news? I'm like, man, I don't know if I can keep watching this because he's such a disgusting
perfectly
villain.
hateable.
Yes, and the performance is so great. He's such a disgusting villain, and I'm like, dude, this guy. If Superman was evil, I believe he'd be this guy. Like, because like this guy is a total psychopath, and like is dangerously close to like I don't even want to say real life, because he does. So some people tell me in upcoming episodes he does mirror like the Trump campaign and stuff like that. That doesn't even bother me. What bothers me
not
is
so much him, but another character, and he jumps on the bandwagon when he realizes it can get him attention.
Right, and the thing is, like, I'm like, someone like this taking over America or being in charge of planet Earth is dangerous. And it just gives you no hope. And I'm like, dude, I know this is a fierce satire, but is there any hope? And then you're like, well, you know, there's moments. I'm like, why would I keep
I mean,
watching
it's
this?
true. It's such a great show, though. You need to finish it. How far into season 2 are you?
I think I got to like I'm in the middle of episode 2, so I just started it.
Oh, okay,
But
so
like,
you're still at the beginning of season 2.
Dude, here's what kind of like made me almost had that throw the remote at the TV moment. And I ain't gonna lie, I did kind of laugh about it afterwards. Like, yeah, that is kind of funny, but it is so cruel. When it's funny now, It just wasn't funny when I was watching it. They had the blind warrior that could like,
oh yeah,
that could like hear, and he's practicing his moves. And you got the lady that took over the old job that Elizabeth Shue had, and she's like, I got a new member for the 7. And he's like, he can hear a mile away or like 10 miles away or whatever. And he's like, and Homelander's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And so he meets him. He says, Homelander, it's always been my dream to work with the 7. Says, well, you've had a terrific adversary that you've had terrific adversaries that you've overcome in your life, young man. And then Homelander had a question like, I just got a question. So what would happen if I just smashes this man's ears to oblivion? And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cruel. Like, and in the moment I'm not laughing, I'm like, that's not funny. But now that I think about it, I'm like, if you told that story to somebody, it's funny. But when you watch it in a moment, it's just cruel. And I'm like, dude, you're a horrible character.
Yeah, like Homelander is terrible, but at that moment, it's like he do have a point, though. You know, what kind of hero are you if your weakness is literally just a loud noise or having your ears destroyed and you're done? That's the end of your superhero career.
And that's the horrible thing about it, because you understand it. Like, you understand a sick person like this. Like, well, yeah, there's really no need for him, you know, because if he can get defeated that easy, what's the point?
Yeah. I really hope that you continue watching, because I really want to know your thoughts on the rest of the season. I haven't started season 3 yet. I need to. But yeah, I finished season 2 back when it basically near when it came out, not like right when it came out.
Yeah, I just need a minute, man, because I just gotta because just what everyone's telling me, they kind of give me a like, well, you want the good news or the bad news? Because he kind of does stick around. I'm like, oh man. Because you know, it's like some villains are bad, but you like them because of how complex they are. Like Gus. Gus was a great adversary for Walter.
But, he's in this show too.
Yeah, I've seen Giancarlo. He's in The Boys. I've seen him.
Oh, that's right. He shows up in season 1.
No. Season 1, season finale. Yeah, he does. He does.
I was gonna say he's a big part of season 2. I forgot that he showed up in season 1.
Yeah, but like I love Gus in Breaking Bad. You know, like he's a villain that of course you're on Walter's side because you've seen him from the beginning. But like he's a villain that you want to know more about. I don't want to know more about Homelander, man. I know this guy is the real deal, and I know why Butcher wants to take him down.
Right.
I don't need to know anything else. How do we get this guy down?
Oh man, I really hope you keep watching, because I'm not gonna say that you're gonna start liking Homelander. You're gonna start hating him a lot more for different reasons.
Again, I don't know how that. That doesn't really happen. That doesn't really give me incentive to keep watching. You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, it's like someone telling me, like, hey man, does this show get better? Well, it doesn't become a good show, but there's good moments. You know, listen, The Boys is a good show, but I'm saying like you're like
it doesn't become like a happy-go-lucky scenario. You know, everybody doesn't walk away going, man, that was princesses and rainbows.
You're not really selling me to keep watching this, you know. But I'm enjoying it so far. I like the writing. I like the characters. It's very interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah. I will say there's a lot of great scenes. I think the finale of season 2 is really well done when it comes to like bringing everything together for the season. Because there's a lot of things that happen in the season that you're just like, I didn't like that. oh, that better be solved. And they solve it all pretty well, where you're just like, okay, that was good. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing about this last season finale. Like, Hero Gasm in the episode after it, they said like, man, that was a great finale. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, that's what intrigued me to get back into it. I had always planned to watch it again. I had just been slipping a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
curious how like to the comics they stayed with that whole thing, but I'll watch it sometime and find out.
yeah. All right, man. Well, that's it for me. You all set?
I think I'm all set.
All right, y'all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This has been another great episode of DFV, and y'all take care.
Nope. Yep. Nope.